Hello. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a day that is celebrated. What is this? What the heck is this? Okay, no. Sorry, that's my series. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That was a terrible bit to I'm Horrjblue, I know, to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Which is celebrated. Everybody celebrates Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There's no states that don't celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. because that would be terrible if you were a state that doesn't celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That would be like racist. Is that the right term? I think that's the right term. I could be wrong. I don't know. Star Wars is stupid. Yeah, so it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Nobody's watching this. I get to say whatever I want to say, and maybe in a year or so, somebody will come back to this and watch it and be like, "Oh, yeah, this guy had a remarkably forward-thinking opinion, and I totally support him." Or other people will be like, "Yeah, Black lives don't matter." And I will just have to say, agree to disagree. Black Lives Matter. Hashtag. And also, the civil rights movement hasn't ended. It's still ongoing. Black people are still having to fight for their civil rights, for their civil protections. There are more people than ever who are privileged. This is true. Black people that are more privileged than ever before, but we still haven't gotten to the mountaintop. We still haven't gotten to Martin Luther King's dream, especially because I didn't call him Dr. Martin Luther King's dream right there a second ago, because that's important to remember. He was a doctor as well as a reverend. Or is it pastor? But anyway, so the main thing that I want to say is civil rights hasn't ended, and it didn't start with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It started decades before, a century before even that, and his abolition took forever to actually take a hold. And Americans, these American mofos, decided to kill each other because they were so petty and so small-minded that they had to slaughter each other in order to find some type of agreement that slavery needed to end, that enslaving Black people is not a good thing. It wasn't just like a snap of the fingers. Or it wasn't just them signing the Declaration and the Constitution and then having the Shays Rebellion. It was history. It wasn't simply. What did they had the Articles of Confederation first, or the Articles of Confederation in the Civil War. There was a Confederacy. What was I'm blanking on this. History is a weird gal. She wears some weird stuff at times, and nobody can convince her not to wear the things that she wears. But her fashion sense sometimes is inarguably terrible. And so but the main thing, I think the most important thing about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is the fact that he was a prominent figure in the civil rights movement. He's still inspiring to a lot of people, and a lot of Black people especially look to him as a figure of great eloquence as well as intelligence, and he was. And honestly, I hope that everybody can look to him and learn something, Everybody, not only on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, can, go in and read his speeches, his writings, a lot of the stuff that he did during his life was so much. A lot of stuff that he did was so much smarter than a lot of the stuff that people that hated him ever did. So, and there's a lot of haters and a lot of people trying to kill him, and that's the sad reality is America is a very brutal and disgusting place, and anybody that somehow thinks that I'm terrible for saying that, I'm horrible, I know, I guess, but yeah, it's freaking, they slaughtered each other. Then they slaughtered each other in a civil war, and then they wasn't happy. Then they had to get put sheets on their head, and go and tie black people up after hundreds of years of beating them with whips. And people are confused about whether or not this is a terrible place. I'm a patriot, dude. You're not a patriot. Anybody that thinks America's beautiful is not a patriot. America has beautiful opportunity to do the right thing. Has a beautiful opportunity. America has a beautiful opportunity to do the right thing. It just constantly refuses to do the right thing. Instead, they want to do the white thing, which is the most terrible thing, oftentimes. It's a travesty. And I hope everybody has a safe Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I hope that more states enact celebrating and giving people time off, making this an actual holiday that everybody can celebrate. When the pandemic ends, we can have parades every single year and lots of stuff to celebrate, not just Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but also the sacrifices of so many people with him. And that's the point of the day, is he's the face of a major movement in the history of America. If you are a true patriot and you truly love America, you will go in and you will read the suffering that they had to go through in order to fight for their basic human rights. And that's what they did. They fought for their basic human rights. Not all black people get them. Not all people in the world get human rights. In fact, the very same people who are in delusions, absolute delusions, are still trying to fight and act like they're on the right side of history when they're not. You're on the wrong side of history, especially you're on the same side as the people that were trying to kill civil rights leaders. You're on the same side as the people that were fighting civil rights. I don't support, nobody really supports everything that's happening with the Black Lives Matter movement, and it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd to sit here and say that. Not everybody supported everything that was happening with the civil rights movement. There was some absurd things happening there. There was not just this absolute agreement. You had Malcolm X and the Muslim Brotherhood. You had the Black Panthers as well. As well as there were many other civil rights leaders who were trying to help and participate and be the face. It just so happened Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He just has such an amazing voice, has a great presence, and he's eloquent. And he also went to school and got his doctorate or his PhD or whatever, one or the other. I don't know that much. Just let me know, let people know, let us all know, inform us in the comments, what his whole education is, so that more people can know that. Because I don't, yeah, I should look that up. That's This is stuff that I should know, but I'm realizing, and like there's still a lot of ignorance I think that I have, especially his whole story, because he's not just a guy that watched. He's not just that guy that marched on Washington that one time and delivered this very empowering, impactful speech, which it's an absolutely historical and just beautiful and inimitable. It's inimitable. It's like almost, it's nobody can replicate it. It's there's no, like, there's nothing I can really say that can, like, explain the totality of what it was and what it still is today, because it's still so meaningful, because civil rights hasn't been fully enacted for everyone, and because racism is still around and people don't understand still to this day race and racism, and the very people that are sitting here acting as if being called a racist is a lie when they're doing racist things that they can't understand. And it doesn't really matter if you don't fully understand. Like, if you do something within the right bounds and the right context, it's racist. No matter what you think, your opinion doesn't matter, because you're not being objective and you're not really understanding what is and what isn't racism. And woke white people, I hate that term. Like, essentially, I don't consider myself woke. I'm not trying to virtue signal you. This is the stupidest term ever. I'm not trying to do this. Like, my only goal is that more people can have peace and more people can have opportunity. And none of my friends will be harmed. I don't really have any family that are, African American, unfortunately, I guess. I don't have that connection, but I have friends, and I don't want to see any of them harmed or hurt, or even, whether physically or emotionally. Like, yeah. So that's, I guess, where did I say? Yeah, I don't consider myself woke, but I think I fit that definition on some level, not because I'm trying to act like I'm better than anyone or I'm this great thing. I'm Horrjblue, I know. But I want to be the best person that I can be. So trying to understand things and trying to get people's perspectives and not living in my own echo chamber, which is the ironic thing about people that, say that oftentimes they live in their own little echo chamber or whatever, or they only want their own echo chamber. Like, that's really what they want at the end of the day, is they're pointing out that other people are living in their echo chamber, but really at the end of the day, they want only their point to be driven home, and they cannot survive unless their point, their their point of view, their perspective, their opinion is expressed. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, okay, your opinion can't exist in this chamber of echoes, but it's sort of the same thing to be like, my opinion has to exist in this echo of chambers. This chamber of echoes. This chambers of echo. It's sort of the same thing. Like, it's some weird paradox. Because the reason why it's because you can't survive unless people know that your opinion is the right opinion or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know if I'm right. Am I right? I feel kind of right. And I'm only putting this in a video because I want to make money. And if I do this, then I can make money. Possibly. Maybe. Maybe not. At the same time, I do want to make the world a better place. Bring the world up. So, I don't know. It is what it is. Jimmy Dean sausage. Terrible way to end this video, but yeah, I just want to honor, help in my very minuscule, lazy way, honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I don't know if this has or this hasn't. Maybe I'm just creating a problem by posting this video. Maybe I've helped somebody, inspired somebody in an indirect way, because I'm not very inspirational. But Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is, and he's got a lot of wise words he's expressed through his short life. So go and search them out. Maybe I'll put some links in the description. Be safe. Don't be racist. Understand racism. Stop living in your own echo chamber thinking that you understand racism and everybody else doesn't. Like, just give everybody, find the people that really understand racism and actually listen to their information. Maybe I'll include some links of that if I remember correctly, or other people might if I allow links on my channel. I don't know, people are kind of crazy. Yeah, that's a sad thing. The saddest thing of it all is, like, in talking about this, like, somebody went and they shot that man. They gunned down that doctor. He was assassinated, as we all know. Why does this sound like I'm doing a joke or a bit? It's terrible. They ended his life before, he had more opportunity to see progress and push for more progress. Anyways, take care, have a good day, do what you can. I don't know how to end this. Maybe I already ended this. If you're seeing this now, that means that I didn't know how to end this, and I'm still struggling to figure out how to end this. As I'm also struggling, dealing with the pressure and weight of, like, this very idiotic world. Make it better. That's all I can say. I'm Horrjblue, I know. It's terrible of me to tell you to go make the world better. I know, because a lot of people just want to make it worse. A lot of people just want to do the wrong thing and just be completely stupid. Don't be like them. Be smart. Especially during this pandemic, do the right thing. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm on my soapbox now. So let me get off my soapbox. It's not even my soapbox. It's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s soapbox. So maybe I'll include no, I don't know. Maybe I'll include some of his wise words here if I get around to it.